Hello everybody, welcome back to our Farming Simulator 25 map guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at Sunshine Forest. But before that, this video is brought to you by Claire Barton and Brimlick. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Sunshine Forest map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now let me read you a little bit of the description. Welcome to Sunshine Forest with a beautiful landscape and forest. This map includes a general sell point and vehicle shop area. All in-game products can be sold. Thanks to MA7 Studio for letting him use the wood crane. This map includes 6 forest areas with spruce, pine, and birch trees, 2 peat fields, and a small yard for your machinery. With respect to modders, you are allowed to implement the peat system into your map, such as adding the fill type to your map and sell point and making it functional. I would appreciate it if you could credit Carl TG as the original creator of the peat mod. Modifications, uploads of the peat system itself, including textures and other assets, are not allowed. So this map does have a required mod in the peat equipment pack, and if you take the map size and the required mod into account, we're looking at a total download size of 332 megabytes in size. Now, I would classify this map as a wilderness forestry farming map, or maybe forestry wilderness farming map. Either rate, there's a lot of forest, there's a decent amount of wilderness, and there's a little bit of farming. So whichever order you end up putting them all in, that's what you got. You got kind of all three here on this map. Now, we do have all the standard crop types available to us in Farm Sim 25 on this map, including peat as an additional crop. Now, I've currently deselected grass because if we leave it picked, well, it's a little hard to read and see. So I'm going to leave grass unselected for now. If we toggle our way over here to our farmland area, you'll see that we start up by owning farmland ID 1 at the start. You can buy that if you do select to not own the farm at the start for $311,174. This is going to include the starting farmland buildings, as well as the 2 peat fields and a bit of forest in the extreme southeast corner of the map. Now, there are several other buyable areas here that include forestry. And then there are also several buyable areas that are basically wilderness. And to that end, you're going to be able to kind of build out your map in the wilderness, clear the forest, and then build out your farm. Pretty much, you're going to be able to do just about anything you want on this particular map. Now, with respect to our crop counter, we do have our standard crop counter available to us in Farm Sim 25. We do have growth and plant schedules for peat. If you do select to continue to use the growth calendar, we do not have any animals pre-placed on this map. We do have contracts in the dead wood, rock removal, and wood transport contracts that are new with Farm Sim 25. We have one available production, and that is the lumber yard. We're going to be able to make planks, long planks, and wooden beams. With respect to sell points, I counted up 3 sell points between the train sell point, Goldcrest Valley, the storage bay, and then there is another sell point also available on the map. There is, as I mentioned, 1 production. We take a look at our vehicles. You'll see our equipment is predominantly geared towards peat or forestry, as one might expect, because we don't have traditional fields on this map. We've got the Holaris MES 400 silage leveler. We have ourselves the International Series 200 pickup truck, the John Deere 6R 230 tractor, Komatsu 951 tree harvester. We have the SKS 301050 semi-trailer. We have the Lizard JMK 40. This is going to be part of that peat system. We also have the peat dryer. We have the peat ridger. We have a production Miller 9M roller. We also have the crane that was mentioned in the description. That's going to be over at the sawmill yard. We have the New Holland T7 230 tractor. We have then the semi, the Volvo semi, that is equipped with our log back end and crane. We then have the corresponding and matching log trailer for that truck. We have the Rotney F20D forwarder, and then we have a 1,250 kilogram front weight. Pair of those. The Volvo FH16 semi with the Volvo high tip bucket, and well, surprise there, we have the Volvo L180H wheel loader also. We do not have any hand tools at the start, and this map also does not have any collectibles. With all that said, let's kind of do a little run through here on this map. This is our starting farm, and we have a garage. We will not be able to open the outside doors from the outside. We will have to come through the person door. And once we are in the person door, we'll have the trigger to activate both roll doors right there in the middle. And this is where we're going to find our workshop trigger as well, located right there. And pretty much the entirety of the inside of this shop is going to be the workshop trigger. Now, with respect to what can you sell here on the starting area, well, you can sell the garage, you can sell the trailer, that is your farmhouse, and that's about it. Everything else is flagged as decoration or farm sim junk, but we're not able to sell it. Even by going into demolition mode, clicking on it doesn't turn up anything as far as being able to get rid of it. We've got our high dump bucket, our silage leveler, which I guess could be used on this map, maybe to push logs around. Then we have our wheel loader. We have our sleep trigger and our wardrobe trigger here at the farmhouse. Our pickup truck, our matching log truck and trailer. And then we have more of our peat equipment located over here. Our semi truck, and that's pretty much the starting farm and the starting machinery. We pull up the mini map here. You see we have field 1, which is going to be our peat field. Now, I'll be honest, I do not know anything about the peat system. If we come here to our vehicle shop, and we go to mods and DLCs, you'll see that we have, with respect to Sunshine Forest, we do have our crane. I don't know if we're going to be able to, like, place this when we buy it, but it's available in the shop. Then we have the peat equipment. So we have our peat dryer, the Production Miller 9M. We have the peat ridger, the JMK 40, which I assume is the peat harvester. Yeah, used for gathering milled peat and transporting to big piles. Then we have a flatbed trailer that's widened out here in order to transport our peat equipment. That's part of the peat pack. Now we get a little bit of altitude, we'll be able to see our starting location, and then we can kind of get a little bit of an idea of what this wilderness area might look like. We got a cut here through with our high power transmission lines. We can see field 1 here divided by this road. We have a little bit of this forest down here, part of our starting land. We made our way to the north along the eastern side of the map, and most of the eastern side of the map is forest here. This is going to be where our sell points are located, our vehicle shop, and of course our sawmill. But we'll come back to those in a little bit. We got the big forest up here across the northern part of the map, and again, you can see this cut of wilderness through here, and then the entirety of the kind of south west portion of the map is what I would classify as wilderness. So you'd really be able to kind of build out whatever you wanted on this side without too much terrible trouble at all. You've got a bit of a marsh or a swamp here with the train line running through it. Now, as far as how we get to our sawmill from our starting farm, let's just jump in the truck and drive on over there. So in coming out to the road from our farmhouse area, we've got a few choices. We could go left, we could go right, or we could kind of shoot off to the north. Well, let's take a look at the PDA. If we go to the left, the road's going to join up with this main road, which tends to come up and then swing to the west and, well, up to the north. Far, far away from where we want to be, which is over here at our animal dealer, our vehicle shop, and our sawmill. So we're going to want to not go to the right, but we want to shoot off this way. And this is going to put us on a trajectory to get to our vehicle shop and our animal dealer and our sawmill. And while we're on this road, well, we can get a nice look of the forest. We've got a very densely treed forest, if you will, with a nice undergrowth also going on. Plenty of rocks, crushing rocks for those types of contracts, or just clearing the rocks out of the way. Who knows, there might be other surprises deep here within the forest that only you're going to find if you get in here and start doing some clear cutting. And now we're making our way up here. The first thing we're going to find is going to be our animal dealer and our animal dealer sell point. Over here to the left. So we have a sell point here for most of our products. If we do go and put down animals, we'll be able to pick them up from this location. We have our vehicle shop and our dealer trigger located right here. Let's go ahead and just pick something up real quick and see where it spawns. Way over there. I'm like, where? I can't even see it. Way off here, we have our side-by-side. So we have a very large area for our machinery to spawn in at. Then on the other side of this wall, we're going to find the sawmill yard. It's quite an extensive yard. Directly in front of us, we have that crane that we will be able to use in order to load the train. We made our way south. We do have a wood sell point located right here. And then we have our sawmill. So you can see our log drop-off point, our wood cell trigger. We have our interactive icon, and then we're going to have our spawn points for our various products. Now let's make our way up here to this crane, because I want to show you how this crane operates if you're going to use a mouse. I'm terrible with cranes. doesn't make any intuitive sense to me as to left click, right click, center mouse button, double click, left, right, up, down. But for other people, more power to you. So we're going to left click, and up and down is going to move the big boom arm up and down, right? Left and right is going to rotate it left and right. That makes pretty much sense. If we center click and we go left and right, we're going to move the entire crane along the track. If we left and right mouse click, up and down, is going to open and close. And then left and right is going to rotate the grabber. We right click, up and down is going to extend the outer segment of the outer arm, if you will, of the crane. So those are the different crane controls. And don't step back into the train. That's not going to be good for your longevity of your farm sim career. And folks, that's pretty much the deal here on Sunshine Forest. I'd like to know your all's thoughts down in the comments below with respect to this particular map. I know that Carl TG has put out other maps that have included the peat system. I'd be curious if you all have used the peat system in the past. What do you think of it? From what I understand, it grows pretty quick, at least based on a comment from the previous map that I did a tour on with respect to Farm Sim 25 and his peat system. And until next time, happy farming.